guys, welcome back to Tip Tuesday. My name is Matthew Sturkey with Stone Mill Log and Timber Homes. Thanks for joining us this week. Last week we talked about different stair options. This week we're going to talk about cabinetry and some of the considerations for cabinetry within a log or timber frame home. We're not going to talk specifically about cabinets themselves. We're going to talk about some of the considerations in conjunction with building a log or timber frame home. The first one and the biggest is going to be settlement allowance. From this image, you can see that the cabinetry is attached directly or not directly to the log wall, but it's attached on a log wall. Behind that cabinetry is actually a furred out wall with furring strips and a slotted connection and sheathing so that the cabinetry can attach directly to the furred out wall. Same thing goes for your backsplash, your brick or your inlay or your stone would be attached directly to that furred out wall. This is so that settlement can occur in the log wall behind the cabinetry without having an effect on the cabinetry itself. So that is the biggest consideration is the settlement allowance within the cabinetry design. So make sure when you're going through the design process that you know which walls are on a log wall, and that gets designed accordingly so that you can fur out or show that space that needs to be furred out from the log wall to be able to attach the cabinetry to it, and then you can do your backsplash as well. So settlement is the biggest consideration within a log home. Certainly doesn't have an effect on a timber frame because you're not going to be using log walls in a timber frame. The second consideration is going to be the height off the floor. There are typically three standard heights for overhead cabinetry from the top of the floor. The first is 84 inches, which is 7 feet. Then you've got 90 inches and you've got 96, which is 8 feet. As you can see in this particular design, they've got the top of the cabinetry a little taller off the finished floor. That's primarily because they've got this large vaulted room and they wanted the cabinetry to take up more space on the wall. But be thinking about how much space that's going to leave between the bottom of your overheads and the top of your countertops. And also be thinking about the height of that cabinetry off the floor. If you're 5'6" or 5'8" and you've got a base or overhead cabinetry that's 86 inches off the floor, you're going to have to step on a stool in order to get whatever's up in that overhead cabinetry. So be thinking about the height off the floor. As I said, most typical height is about 84 inches. Then you've got 90 and 96. So just be considerate of that during the design process of your home. So that is cabinetry height. Then we're going to talk about a little bit about window placement and just things to keep in mind when you're designing windows in the kitchen and how that has an effect on the amount of cabinetry, amount of overhead cabinetry that you have in a kitchen. As you can see in this image, you've got a triple window here, a picture window over the sink, and then you've got a smaller fixed unit or operable unit over on this right wall. And that amount of window space in a kitchen will dramatically affect the amount of overhead cabinetry that you have, as you can see here with a stove, with a pop-up hood, and then a sink with a triple window. That has a limiting effect on how much overhead cabinetry you can have. So be cognizant of that when you are designing your window placement in that kitchen design. The other thing we're going to talk about is color selection and how that color selection gets handled within conjunction of the remainder of the home. So are you going to have cabinetry that stands out from the rest of the wall or from the color of the wall, or is it going to blend a little bit more with the color that you choose for the timbers and the ceiling? So color is really important if that is going to blend, or as you can see in this original image, that is something is going to stand out and be a little different color tone. So be thinking about color tones as well. And then the last image is a couple of considerations here. One is electrical considerations, making sure that when you have these islands that you incorporate some type of receptacle for any type of kitchen appliance that you may be using, like a blender or something on this island, you want to make sure that you have an outlet in this island so that you're not having to plug in a cord on the other side of the cabinets and having that hang across, making sure that you've got an outlet there so that you can use that within the island. And then this is a great little design here, these little build-ins, whether that's for cookbooks or whether that's for just accessories that you want to maybe build in, or additional storage for pots and plates or something. Those little build-ins are great additional space for base cabinetry design. So be thinking about those areas that you can build in, or this little build-in for this stool, where that stool recesses underneath the counter. Just great little spaces that you can tuck things in and incorporate more space for a kitchen design more efficiently. So when you're talking to your designer, or if you're talking specifically with a kitchen designer, make sure that you incorporate some of those build-ins and some of those electrical considerations when you're doing that kitchen design. So these are the considerations for cabinetry within a log or timber frame home. Please feel free to call us anytime you have questions or want to talk about your kitchen design, such an important space. Thank you for joining us for Tip Tuesday, and we look forward to you joining us for more Tip Tuesday next week. Until then, as always, stay safe and healthy and take care.